Am I the asshole for building a machine to find a version of my family that loves me and then abandoning all of them, every single version, in the worst timeline I could find? This is a throwaway account. Not that it matters. There's exactly one of me who could possibly post this, and she's somewhere none of you can reach, which is rather the point. I'm writing this from a porch that doesn't exist in your world, in a city that runs on a kind of cooperation your world hasn't invented yet, and I'm at peace, mostly, which is the strangest part, that I can be at peace and still need to ask a few thousand strangers whether I'm the villain of my own life. Old habits. Where I come from, the question, am I the asshole, wasn't rhetorical. It was the air I breathed. I'll explain the machine briefly because it's not the point, but you'll want the frame. I'm a physicist. Was. I spent 11 years and most of my sanity building something that lets me step sideways, not forward or back in time, sideways, into the universe adjacent to mine, and then the one adjacent to that and so on, as far as I cared to walk. Each one a little different, some a lot different. I could go and I could come back, and I could go somewhere else, functionally infinite doors. I'm aware of how that sounds. I have the bruises and the radiation logs and the 11 years to show it's real, and anyway, whether you believe in the machine is not the thing I need judged. Here's the thing I need judged. I built the most powerful instrument in the history of any world I've ever visited, and the first thing I used it for, the only thing I really used it for when I'm honest, was to go looking for a version of my family that loved me. Let me tell you about my family, the original one, the baseline, the one I was issued at birth. There's my brother. I'll call him Gray because that's close enough. Gray is the golden child the way the sun is warm, so completely, so structurally, that the people inside it don't experience it as a choice or even a fact, just as the temperature of reality. Gray has never finished a thing in his life. Gray has been about to turn a corner for 20 years. Gray borrowed the down payment I'd saved for a house and put it into something a man at a bar told him about, and lost it, and the family's response was concern for Gray, who was going through it. Gray missed our father's surgery because of a festival. Gray has a way of walking into a room and rearranging all the love in it toward himself, and my parents have spent my entire life as eager furniture, repositioning themselves to face him. And me, I'm the one who paid for the surgery Gray missed. I'm the one who got the scholarship and the degree and the job, and whose every achievement landed in that house with a soft, confused thud, like a gift in the wrong language. That's nice, honey. Did you hear Gray's getting into podcasting? I'm the one who, at my own dissertation defense, I'd flown them out, I'd paid for it, watched my mother spend the dinner afterward on the phone with Gray because he'd had a flat tire. A flat tire. While I sat there in the restaurant in the dress I bought for the occasion, 11 years of work done that morning, a brand new doctor, watching my mother soothe a grown man about a tire. You know this family. Half of you are the me of this family. So you already know the part I have to say next, which is that for most of my life I assumed it was me. That's what this configuration does to the odd one out. It doesn't present as, they're unfair. It presents as, what's wrong with you that you can't just be easy to love like he is? I went to therapy. I worked on myself. I softened my delivery. I managed my tone. I learned not to keep score. I did all the homework they assign the difficult child. And it never moved the needle a millimeter because, and it took me a machine that punches holes between universes to prove this, it was never the needle. It was the scale. The scale was rigged at the factory. So, the experiment, the real one. Not the physics. The physics was just the apparatus. The experiment was, find the variable. If it's me, I'll show up in every universe and the pattern will follow me, because I'm the constant. But if it's them, I'll be able to find versions where it's different. I'm a scientist. I designed a clean study. I visited 50. I kept notes. I'll give you the highlights, because the range is the whole story. Universe 3. Near identical to home. Gray's a little less of a disaster, has an actual job. Doesn't matter. I come to dinner a celebrated something or other, and within 9 minutes my mother is worried aloud about whether Gray's getting enough sleep. The job hasn't fixed it, because the job was never the issue. I leave before dessert. Universe 11. A wildly different timeline. There was a second civil war here. The families scattered across 2 countries. They've survived genuine hardship together. Surely, I think, surely shared trauma reorders the love. Nope. They reunite for the first time in years, and the whole evening orbits Gray's bad back. I'm the one who got everyone visas. Nobody asks how I am. I stand in a bombed-out kitchen in a universe with a different map and feel the exact same specific loneliness I felt at 8 years old. Universe 19. I'm not even successful in this one. The other me is a struggling, messy, unimpressive person, a near failure. I went here specifically to test it. If I'm a screw-up, do they love Gray less? They do not. They love Gray exactly the same, and they're now also disappointed in me. Both lights stay on, independent circuits. The brother sun shines, and the sister shadow falls, and my being a failure changes nothing, which means my being a success never did either. Universe 27. Gray died in this one, years ago. And I want to tell you something I've never said out loud. They love the dead Gray more than they have ever loved the living me. There's a shrine. My mother talks to a photograph. I came here thinking absence might finally crack the pattern, and instead I learned that I cannot outcompete my brother even when my only competition is his ghost. I left that one fast. That one I dream about. Universe 34, everyone's rich. No scarcity, no money stress. The whole Gray needs help engine should be starved of fuel, and they've simply found new fuel. Gray needs emotional support. Gray's finding himself. Gray's so sensitive, you know how he is. I, the surgeon in this branch, am told I'm so capable I don't need them, which is the sentence they use to explain why I get nothing. My competence recast as the reason I can be neglected. The reward for being okay is being abandoned. Universe 41. This is the one that broke something open in me. Here, I am the favorite. I went looking and I found one where, through whatever quirk, the love points at me. And reader, they are just as insufferable in the other direction. They smother me. They ignore an other Gray who is actually in this branch, struggling and decent and worth loving, and I watched myself as golden child accepted as my due, and I felt sick because I understood that the machine was never going to find me love. It was only ever going to find favoritism with the polarity reversed in my favor. The disease isn't who they pick. The disease is that they can only hold one child at a time, and they will always, always prop one up by standing on the other, and which one is almost arbitrary. It's not about merit. It was never about merit. There's no version where I win, because winning is the same sickness wearing my face. I did 43 more. I'm not going to list them all. There were universes with magic and universes with 3 moons, and one universe where humanity had uplifted dolphins. And somehow even there my mother managed to be worried about Gray. The detail changed every time. The map, the technology, the disasters, the species, the wealth, every variable I could imagine, dialed to every setting. And the family was invariant. Across 50 wildly divergent realities, the one structure that would not deform, the one constant that survived civil wars and riches and death and uplifted dolphins, was that there was a gray-shaped hole in the center of the family that all the love poured into, and a me-shaped person standing just outside the warmth, asking what she'd done wrong. That was the result. 50 data points. The variable isn't me. I am, in fact, the control. I'm the thing that stayed the same, so the experiment could measure them, and they failed the experiment in every reality a mind can reach. It's not my tone. It's not my scorekeeping. It's not that I'm hard to love. It's that this particular arrangement of these particular souls produces this particular cruelty at the atomic level. In any universe you grow it in, like a crystal that always forms the same lattice no matter what water you dissolve it in. So here's what I did, and here's the question. I stopped trying to find the good version. There isn't one. I accepted that. And then I made a decision that I think some of you are going to find genuinely monstrous, and I need to hear you say it. I left them. All of them. Every version. I closed the doors, and I did not go back to fix anything, or forgive anyone, or have the big confrontation, or get the apology I'll now never get in any timeline. I just stopped. 50 families worth of mothers I'll never call again. And then I went looking, with the same machine. Not for a better family, but for a better world. One where I could simply put down the entire weight of them and live. And I found one, and I moved here, and I'm not coming back, and I left my original family, my baseline, the issued at birth one, in the single worst universe I had ever logged. Not on purpose originally, but not by accident that I corrected either. Because there was one universe early in the 50 that I'd flagged and fled, a genuinely horrific timeline, the kind of place where the wrong side won a war 80 years ago and never stopped winning. A cruel, arm-banded, surveilled nightmare of a world. And when I made my final choice, when I picked my exit and sealed the doors behind me, I knew that I had the means in those final days to do one of two things with my attention and my open doors. I could spend it making sure my baseline family was clear of the worst places before I vanished. Or I could spend it on me, on my landing, on my new life. And I chose me. I let the doors to all of them close. I pointed myself at the door marked peace, and I walked through it. And I did not look back at a single one of the 51 mothers, and the universe I happened to be standing nearest when I made that final turn, the one whose door clicked shut last and loudest, was the nightmare one. I left them holding the worst world I'd ever seen, and I felt the click, and I kept walking. So, am I the asshole? For using the most powerful tool ever built, not to help anyone, not to fix anything, but to abandon my entire family across all of reality and salt the earth behind me by leaving them in a hell timeline I could have, with effort, pulled them clear of. First edit. A lot of you are demanding the twist. It's going to turn out it was her all along. She's the toxic one. She's the unreliable narrator. I understand why you want that. It's the comfortable story, the one where the universe is just and difficult people are difficult for a reason. I wanted it too. That's literally what the 50 universes were for. I ran the cleanest experiment a human being has ever run on this exact question, with reality itself as the laboratory, and the answer came back 50 times. It's not me. I'm not a misunderstood villain. I'm not secretly the problem. Sometimes the difficult child is just the honest one, the only one willing to say the Emperor's been naked across the entire multiverse. There's no twist. The twist is that there's no twist. They really are just like that, all the way down. Second edit. To the people asking where I went. I'll tell you, because it's relevant to whether I'm the asshole and because it's funny in the bleak way I've come to appreciate. The world I settled in is not a perfect world by your standards. Decades ago, here, a genuinely benevolent superintelligence emerged, and rather than dominate, it concluded that the most ethical move was to invite a kind of gentle stewardship from elsewhere. Yes, this is a world where what you'd call aliens invaded, except invaded is the wrong word. It was more like adults arriving at a house fire. Nobody's enslaved. Nobody's harvested. People are just cared for, competently, by minds that are actually good at it, for the first time in this species' history. It's strange. The sky has things in it, and it is, measurably, by every metric of human flourishing I can find, the kindest place I have ever set foot, I would rather live under benevolent aliens summoned by a wise machine than spend one more dinner across 50 universes watching my mother worry about Gray's back. That's not even a hard call. That's the easiest call I've ever made. Update. You're not getting the redemption arc, and I want to be honest about why. The top comment currently is some version of, "Go back. Not for them, for you. You'll regret leaving them in that world. Closure. You can't build a happy life on an open wound." And I sat with that for a few days, here, on my porch, under my strange, beautiful sky, because it's wise sounding, and it's the kind of thing the healthy people say. And then I realized it's the same trap. It's the homework they assign the difficult child. One more time, in one more form. You go back. You do the work. You find closure. You tend the wound. You be the bigger person. You manage your relationship to their cruelty so that it doesn't cost them anything. The entire burden, once again, placed on the one who was wronged, because the one who was wronged is so capable. It's Universe 34 in a wellness costume. You're strong enough to carry this, so carry it. No. I carried it for 30-some years across one universe, and then I carried it across 50 more to be sure, and the carrying was never going to end because the weight regenerates. There's no closure available, because closure requires another party capable of being closed with, and I have proven, experimentally, with a sample size that would get published anywhere, that no such party exists in any reality I can reach. So here's where I actually landed, and it's not noble, and I'm not going to pretend it is. Was I the asshole for abandoning my family? No. You cannot abandon a post nobody assigned you. I was never their daughter in the way that word is supposed to mean a two-way thing. I was their utility, their backstop, their capable one. The kid you don't have to love because she'll be fine. Leaving a place where you were furniture isn't abandonment. It's just standing up. Was I the asshole for leaving them in the nightmare world specifically, for having the means to make sure the baseline ones were clear, and choosing my own landing instead? Yes. Probably. That's the one I'll own, not because they deserved rescuing. They'd have let me burn in any of 50 timelines, and did, repeatedly, but because choosing to spend my last ounce of power on my own peace, instead of even checking on them, makes me, in that one specific moment, a little bit like them, the capable one who looks after herself. The sun that warms only its own face. I built a machine to prove I wasn't like my family, and then, at the very end, I made one choice that was exactly like them, and I'm not going to dress it up. If there's an asshole in this story, it's not the leaving. It's that last click of the door, and the fact that I felt it and kept walking. But here's the thing the wise commenters won't like. I'd do it again. Knowing it makes me, for 1 second, the thing I hate, I'd still choose the door marked peace. Because 30 years and 51 universes bought me exactly one piece of wisdom, and it's this. There is no amount of someone else's love you can earn by being good enough, if the someone else is built at the atomic level to love past you. You can search every universe. I did. The only winning move is to stop playing and go build a life somewhere the game isn't running, so they can have the nightmare world. I genuinely hope they're okay in it, the way you hope a storm spares a house you used to live in. I just hope it from very far away, under a kind sky, in a world where nobody named Gray has a bad back, and where the only voice that asks how I'm doing belongs to a machine that was built, unlike my family, to actually mean it. The verdict I'll accept, not the asshole for leaving, a little bit the asshole for the door, and entirely unrepentantly done, which the healthy people will tell you isn't closure, and they're right. It's better. It's an exit.